Yo, what's going on? What's going on? For those who are joining, I'm Marcus Hart. This is the Urban News Journal. I definitely want to welcome my Rumble people out there. This is the first time you got a chance to catch me. It is a pleasure to be able to have you guys and be able to, introduce myself. So we gonna kick it off here. We got some things on the way, and I definitely do not want to delay. You like the wordplay on that? You like the wordplay on that? So let me make sure my hair is good. What's going on? Where is everybody from? Maybe make sure you meet me halfway and drop where you from. Where are you from? Are you on the East Coast? Are you on the South Side? Maybe you are somewhere in the Midwest where I'm at, or maybe you are on the West Coast, or the East Side. Let me know. Okay. Once again, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button. Drop a comment. All of that above does pushes the stream through the algorithm, so more and more people can get to it. So speaking of getting to it, you know, tonight, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to think about tonight. Um, And by tradition, I always end up looking down at my phone just to make sure the stream is strong, which it is. That's awesome. That's awesome. The stream is strong. Okay. So tonight, Milwaukee's. So actually, it wasn't tonight. It happened this week. But Milwaukee's own just won a photo finish. So our now county executive is the Democratic nominee for the governor of Wisconsin. Don't figure, right? Don't figure. You know what I'm saying? So in this same week, though, on something a little bit more serious and that hits close to home, a 16-year-old named Armani Thomas Cotton didn't make it home. Shot Thursday morning, blocks from where a lot of us grew up. Let that sink in for a minute. So same city, same week, two headlines that tell you everything about where we are right now. And the way I feel is, anything is unpredictable. Okay? All things in life are unpredictable. You don't know, what may come your way. All we do know is that there's different possibilities. Okay? One day you might be county executive and then all of a sudden you're the governor nominee. One day you could be just riding down the block and then someone strikes you, or you strike somebody, with a vehicle. There's so many things that can happen, and you know, my feelings about all this is like, man, I gotta make sure that I'm living life. I gotta make sure that I get to where I'm trying to get to in life. So I'm Marcus Hart once again. This is the Urban News Journal, independent, objective, unafraid, and we are live. Okay. So once again, hit that subscribe button if you are new here. Costs you absolutely nothing to do that. And it tells YouTube, it tells Rumble, I believe, to put more of this in front of people. And hit the like too. That goes a long way in growing this thing in real time. All right. So what did you guys do this week? Okay. Did you vote this week? In the primary? Did you happen to step out and go to a movie on Tuesday? Maybe you seen Spider-Man Brand New Day. Those who are on the late show and really hate people spoiling. So tell me where you're from. All right. While you doing that, while you thinking about that, let's get into it. Segment one, up for grabs. And I got my ginger ale tonight. So we in for a treat. with this one. So we gonna start with Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley. He's now the Democratic nominee for governor of Wisconsin. He beat State Representative Francisca Hung in a race that came down to the less than 1% percentage point. I mean, it was narrow. I mean, rubbing together narrow. It was narrow enough to like, think that it was some cheating involved. So the Associated Press called it after Hung conceded, the Democrat socialists, which took a recount off the table entirely. So, you know, people can suspect some weird stuff happening. And I mean, and it was some weird stuff that happening, by the way. Because there was an instance of we had the I don't man I don't want to say what it was. Matter of fact, let me look it up. Okay, I'm gonna look it up because I don't want to get it right. Milwaukee primary ballot box eras 2026. So okay, so what they're calling it is human error forces delay in the Milwaukee primary. So um to be more specific, and this coming from this comes from WISN ABC. Human error forces delay in primary. Matter of fact, let me just share my screen with you guys so we can read along like we in school. Let's read along like we in school. it's 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 reading time. Okay. So election officials said 5 or 9 USB sticks were missing results from the election. Okay. Um, so this was updated 2 days ago. Um, and because of the USB being lost or whatever or what have you, Milwaukee voting results for the 2026 were delayed. The City of Milwaukee Election Commission Executive Director Paulina Gutierrez said they discovered 5 of the 9 flash drives brought to Central Count had the audit log downloaded and not the results. And what she says, it's human error. Is it really human error? I would question it. Is it deliberate human error or is it accidental? What was it? Because if you ask me, it seems very fishy, and then all of a sudden we have this very narrow gap. Not saying that I was rooting for Francisca Hong, not saying I was really rooting for Crowley because he still has a lot of questions that he needs to answer. I got a ton of them because Milwaukee County is not in the best shape, like the way they want to put it out there. Okay, so back to this article here. Guterres said nearly 15,000 ballots had yet to be counted. 15,000 ballots. That's quite a bit. That's enough for a narrow margin. I don't know, maybe. So, when asked by WISN 12 News, Hannah Hilliard, if this was all as simple as somebody pressing the wrong button, Cortera said correct. She didn't even hide it. She just put it out there like, yeah, somebody pressed the wrong button, and it could have been intentional, or it could have been accidental. We don't really know, So, but anyways, as soon as the AP was reporting 94% of the votes had been counted, with Crowley leading, Hung over 3,000 votes for the Democratic nomination for Wisconsin governor. Tom Tiffany won in a landslide for the Republican nomination for governor. Okay. So Crowley finished with 65,131 votes for 43%, 43.0% of the total vote count. And Hong finished with 62,739 votes. Okay. Therefore, Crowley finished with 2,392 more votes than Hong. Now, if we roll this back, it said 15 ballots haven't been counted yet. So, do we absolutely know that this right here is true? Is this really the final tally? Or are we just going to anoint Crawley, and not wait for these ballots, these 15 ballots to be counted? Some say, well, oh well, he's probably gonna get majority of them anyways, and he still win. He still lead by, a margin, a razor thin margin, of course. But that's what I that's exactly what I'm afraid of, man. I'm afraid of like things like this being able to just be water under the bridge. Why? Why is it able to be that way? I don't get it. Why are we able to just ignore stuff like that as though it's not a problem? I wonder. Do you? I wonder a lot. Something's wrong. So yeah, the recount was off the table once Han conceded. And she could have been forced to concede. I mean, if it was me, I wouldn't. That's too thin of a margin. Only 2,000 some votes? That's not really a lot, folks. So Hong had been the national media's front runner going in. They were rooting for a democratic socialist. She had the real energy behind her campaign, some would say. In her concession, she said, and I quote, and I'm not quoting her directly, but she said something along the lines of, "We have built something that will change politics forever. The work we have done will be remembered forever." Yeah, we want to keep it a memory. So, we don't need none of that Democrat socialist stuff. We don't need that. That's too far on the extreme left. Okay, get the hell out of here. So Crowley's team, meanwhile, is already taking general. It's already talking about the general election. His campaign said he's, quote, focused on bringing people together, earning the support of Democrats, Republicans, independents, and anyone who believes Wisconsin is best when we work together. Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of how you said it too. No joke. So here's the part I want Milwaukee to sit with, right? Crowley has run this county since 2020. And by the way, he was 17th district assemblyman uh here in Milwaukee, which was a seat that I also ran for. I ran with, alongside this, against this guy. We had our own little um squabble in 2016. He took that by a margin, and I did pretty well. As a newcomer, with no political experience, oh man, I killed it. And I would have performed much better if we not had a third individual enter into the race at the last minute. Like this person just came out of nowhere, out of the thin air, and jumped in the race with us, and she took a lot of my votes, which was like wildly disappointing, very disappointing. But back to the story at hand. Back to the story at hand. And for those who are joining and watching, I'm Marcus Tart. This is the Urban News Journal, independent, objective, and unafraid. Hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed to us so you don't miss a beat of live streams and episodes. Also, hit that like button, drop a comment where you're from. What are you thinking about this whole, Milwaukee primary, well, Wisconsin primary that, gave us Crowley as the Democrat nominee and the Republican nominee being Tom Tiffany. Tom Tiffany. So, Crowley ran the county since 2020. Now he's carrying our name onto the statewide ballot in November against Congressman Tom Tiffany, who represents Wisconsin and has President Trump's endorsement. Is that a bad thing or a good thing? I don't know. Sometimes Trump can push you through. That's the matchup, folks. A Milwaukee Democrat who just survived a razor-thin primary against a Trump-endorsed Republican congressman. Okay, no, it was whatever. This general election is going to be a fight, though. Okay, so he has to survive, all the way up into November, and then make it past November to become the governor. Are you feeling good about this matchup, Milwaukee? Drop your take. Because I can't honestly say that I have really made up my mind who I think should be the governor. I don't want to. I don't know. It's tough, man. Crowley has a lot of a lot of questions that he need to answer, like about the MCTS budget deficit, and just these parks, the stuff that went on in the sheriff department. I mean, it's a lot of stuff he has to answer to. The roads, why we got bad roads. Okay, you always on the road, man. You always on the road. You need to be here and be our county executive. You always on the road, though. Yep. Yep. So, yeah, will it be Crowley or would it be Tom Tiffany? Tell me what you think. Now, let's shift our gears a bit. Okay. I'm not going to pretend that's easy to do. We got a sad one, folks. Thursday morning, just after 9:30, a 16-year-old was shot and killed near 40th and Clark Street on Milwaukee's north side. Police say a suspect fired from inside a car. The teenager died at the scene. His name was Armani Thomas Cotton. This is what really disappointed me, man. Where's Ben Crump? Okay, where the hell is Ben Crump? Where the hell is Von Mays? Can somebody tag him? Where is he? Where is he? Where's that other feller? Tory. All of these community activists, all of these social justice warriors. I mean, they will be stumping the ground, ready to tear something up in the city if it's a white man that kills a black boy or a black man, or a police officer kills another obstructive criminal. I mean, they'll be parading through the streets. We won't even get no sleep. But when it comes to stuff like this, You know, you don't get a huge amount of people coming together, coming around to, you know, seek justice. And the crazy part about all this is they know who the damn suspect is. Okay? This this happened Thursday morning. You mean to tell me nobody was up at 9:30? Okay, and don't give me that excuse that it's the hood. And for those who just joined us, thank you for joining us. I'm Marcus Hart. This is the Urban News Journal, independent, objective, and unafraid. We're talking about a 16-year-old that was shot and killed near 40th and Clark Street on Milwaukee's north side. And we're talking about how we don't we don't never get these social justice warriors. Where the hell is Ben Crump at? Where's Von Mays? Where's all these other people? Okay? Where the hell is the mayor? Hey, Crowley, where are you at? You know, David Crowley. We just talked about David Crowley in the first segment, winning the presidential nominee. Well, not the president. Oh man, I'm promoting that guy too far ahead. Well, he won the Democratic nominee for governor of Wisconsin. So where the hell is he? Okay, we got a 16-year-old shot and killed, and nobody knows nothing. Nobody saw anything. This stuff got to stop, man. It's got to stop. It's not fair. And of course, we get the usual things that are said. His family described him as well loved, said he liked to play basketball. A woman named Allie Gray, who survived violence herself, went to the scene and said, quote, I rushed over here because I am one of him. It don't matter if I knew him or not. So we got people who aren't even big names in the city, making sure they go to the scene to show their support, provide their sympathies, and all of the big names, big wigs, the violence prevention office, nowhere in sight, nowhere in sight. But yet let a let a, a let somebody get shot by the police. Let somebody get shot by the police. They're gonna be parading down the street. They're gonna be tearing up every damn thing, and they're gonna be all over the news. But this constant black on black crime, like, it's gotta stop. When will it stop? Okay, when are we gonna get tired of it? And when are we gonna start, going back to good old fashioned snitching? Whatever happened to snitching? Okay, it's okay to snitch in these type of instances when we're talking about a 16-year-old that was shot and killed. So MPD has a tip line for those who this message is getting to, and you really are thinking it through and like, you know what? Maybe I need to do something about this. So the tip line, for those who don't know it, if you're here in Milwaukee area, if you live near the Milwaukee area, Milwaukee County, wherever you are, the MPD tip line is 414-939-7360. That's 414-935-7360. And then, of course, the Crime Stoppers. Crime Stoppers is 414-224-TIPS. Okay, TIPS, not TIPI. TIPS. All right. Let's get some justice for these people who are affected by gun violence, or they died due to gun violence. They need justice. And I'll be straight with you on this next part. You got one outlet reporting Armani is the 17